I'm going to show you guys how to do just a simple tow tune, and it'll be probably 60-70 horsepower for LBZ only. This will only work for LBZ. You'll go into your EFIlive V8 scan and tune. You can download that from EFIlive.com. Go over here to the Tune tab, and you'll hit Auto Detect. If you want to read out your transmission, you can also do that. Just click here and hit Auto Detect, and you'll pull your transmission out. But once it's seen your E35A, that's LBZ ECU, just hit Read. And it gave me an error because I have a DSP5 tune installed here. But you won't get that. Your green bar will go all the way across the bottom, and when it's done, it'll give you the option to save. Save it in a folder that'll be easy to find. You'll end up getting a lot of these factory files. You want them all in order and where you can find them all. Once you're done downloading, it'll ask you to key off. Alright, I saved the stock file out of my truck, and I just named it stock 07 LBZ. So all you'll do is double click on that. Wait for this screen to pop up, and you'll just hit edit, and then edit with the EFIlive V7.5. When that populates, here you can see your VIN number, your operating system. On every tune, I start out with the speedometer parameters. Double click on that. Here you have your speed sensor, your pulses per mile, or pulses per revolution, sorry. I don't know why you would ever want to change that, but here's your gear ratio. Every single Duramax comes with a 373 in it, but you can change your gearing. So if you want to keep your speedometer right for bigger gears, whatever you want to do, that's where you would change that. And here is your tire size. You can get on Google and Google in your revolutions per mile and your tire size, and you should be able to come up with a number to change it for, just to adjust your speedometer. Then here is your speed limiters. So nobody wants to be limited to 95 miles an hour, so we'll just open it all the way up to 150. Right here you can see the minimum and max numbers that this little box will allow. So most of the time every one will be different, but that's how you do that. I'm not going to be changing anything in this box here for the time being. I will show you what's in there. These are all the codes that the ECM will set for any reason. So this mass airflow sensor code, sensor performance. If you click on it, here's all the different options you have to set that code as. I'm not going to change any of these for just the sake of showing you how to make a tow tune. So we're not going to worry about that at all. We'll leave the EGR and all that on there for street driven truck. This next table is one of the more important tables you're going to use. Torque reference, and then you're going to go to torque base fuel. This is your torque reference over here, and then RPMs over here. And for a lot of the tables on LBZ, you're going to want to get to 120 mm3. These units are all mm3 right there. So just to make sure that you get there, I like to put 125 along the bottom. Then I will just smooth it straight to the top with that button. It's very important that you make sure on this 0 torque line right here that all those are zeros. If you even get a 0.1, it will cause some serious problems. The next table is going to be torque, fuel limit, RPM conversion. And this is a limiter that I don't really care about. We'll select the whole thing. We'll put in 150 mm3. Before we start adding fuel and timing, there's some other limiter tables I want to go over. This one is your, call it BTM. It's pretty much when your brake is on and you put your foot on the throttle, it holds it back when the brake's on. So I'm going to put 100 there, 0 there, 0, and 950 there, just to make sure that that won't hold us back. Yes, that will allow burnouts. And then on this one, all the way down 3,500, I'm just going to do 950 to make sure that won't hold us back. And this is the same way. Let's see, I don't mess with that one. You can if you want. That's if you have a check engine light, it'll take some of your power away. You can do whatever you want with that one. It is kind of important to keep the limp mode active. If you have more specific codes related to the engine. Then on this one, this is another one that's going to limit you to torque. On the top side of it, so high pressure, I'm at high pressure in Kentucky here, so I add 300 with the plus button. You can either add, take away, make that the number, whatever you type in, or add percentage, or take out a percentage. I'll show you more about that later. Once I add that, I'll smooth all the way to the top. Alright, that's all the limiters that we have to mess with. Here's some more about EGR. Again, I'm not going to show you how to delete your EGR, but I mean, you can probably figure it out from where I showed you how to delete the codes, but we're not going to do it. So the next one will be injection amount, main injection pulse. Alright, so when you're idling, you are going to be somewhere right over here. There's your fuel pressure. We're not going to mess with your fuel pressure at all, but just so you know, the highest that a LBZ will go is 180 MPa, or it's about a little over 26,000 psi. So since we changed all our tables to try to get to 120 mm3, obviously when you are wide open, full pressure, fuel pressure, full mm3, full throttle position, you're going to be somewhere around in this part of the table. So I like to take those three, and since we're doing about a 70 horsepower tune, I'm just going to put 20 in and use the percent. So that's about 20% more fuel. So you can do the math on whatever your truck puts down to the ground stock and add percentage of fuel to, that's how much you figure out your tune is, how much horsepower. So we add that much, and then we're just going to smooth out. this way, we're going to go that way a little bit. And we're going to smooth to about 60 mm3 that way. And that's all you need to do for that. Here is another limp mode screen, I guess you could say. If you wanted to turn the limp mode off when you had another important code, you'd also have to change these, and that's also an MM3. So whenever you have low fuel pressure or something like that, and you can only get to 2,000 RPMs, this is the table that controls that. You can also change your main injection limit. So these will control your low boost fueling. This one here, if you can change that to a let's say 0.600. We'll just leave it at that. That'll be fine for that table. Alright, before we go to timing, I will go to fuel pressure and show you something. The stock fuel pressure map is fine for a tow tune. Really, it's pretty good. But if you go down here to max number of injection pulses, you have 5. So go back up here to see what they are. Injection amount. You have 3 pilot, your main injection, and then 2 post injection. Now it only says 5 because one of the post injections is turned off. So you're only using one of those. So 3 pilot, 1 post, and your main injection. For this map, if you take out, let's say you change the whole thing to 4, you will take out your post injection. Post injection is kind of an emissions thing. It helps with smoke. It will run a lot cleaner with it, but if you take it out, you will be able to hold rail pressure better on your big tunes, and you also get a little bit better fuel economy. So if you want to mess with it more than that, you can take out, if you go down to 3, you'll take out one of your pilot injections. At higher RPMs, you don't need any pilot injection. So I wish this map had a break between the 2400 and 3000. So really 2700 would be a good place to turn off your pilot injection. But for this, we can just turn it off right there and just put a 1 in. If you have a 1 in there, well, sorry, we'll leave 1 from in there. We'll just go to 2, and that will take out. You'll only have 1 pilot rather than the 3 you have down here, and that's safe to do at higher RPMs. You can do that. Boost control on stock turbo on a tow tune, I'm not going to change. You can. This is the place where you would put in your exhaust brake if you wanted to do that. I'm not going to do that for this one. So we are ready for injection timing. Main injector base. Timing base A. On this, I don't want to do a whole lot. I'm not going to copy and paste one of my timing tables. I've put a lot of time in. So I'm going to let you experiment with that and find out what you like best. But if you can look at what they are doing from the factory, and if you do a lot of data logging, pretty much go off of what they have. Obviously wide open, you're running more fuel, you're going to need more timing to make that injection cycle, or that injection pulse. You want it to be pretty centered on top dead center. So there's timing calculators. If you Google a timing calculator, you will be able to find them, and they're pretty easy to use. I'm not going to pull it up and show it on this video. Timing is really secretive on what people do. That's where all the secrets are. That's where most of my time is spent when I'm doing my testing. So again, you can see this map goes to 120 mm3. And I'm just going to say we want 19 degrees of timing here. Let's say at 2400. We're going to want 15. This map here will do okay. You're welcome to screenshot it if you want and use it. It will work, and it will actually run pretty good. There's nothing wrong with this, but there's a lot of improvements to be made. I'll leave it at that. So you're welcome to watch and see what I do and go from there. But alright, that is a pretty decent timing map. That'll run pretty good. I will say, depending on your tire size, when you are riding down the interstate for mileage, you will probably, if you're stock tire size and you run about 70 miles an hour, you're going to be in this area right here. So between that 20 to 35, you will be pretty close to this spot. So that'll be what you're doing while you're cruising on the interstate. And if you stomp on it to get around somebody, it'll go this way until you downshift, and then it'll slowly work your way. Again, the bottom right is going to be wide open. So, and you have timing base A, B, C, and D, and E. I normally click on it and Control C to copy. Go to B, paste it there. C, paste it there. D. It uses these different timing tables based on how many pilot, how many post injections. So that's all up to you on what you want to do there. And obviously it's in the description. Every table has its own description. If you are online Googling, doing research, you keep hearing people talk about different tables, you can take those tables and type them in right here and hit search and it'll bring it up.